Hello everyone, welcome to Weather on the Go. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday morning out there to start the weekend, and I know I am, and I'm kind of looking forward to the weekend. Well, we got a lot of weather to talk about here in this video. We got severe weather coming up daily here with daily chances of severe weather all the way probably through the middle of June, through the Father's Day weekend. Also, a major heat wave is also still on track through the middle of the month of June, going all the way probably into the opening days of July. And we also here have some monsoon weather to talk about as we head through the video as well as a little bit about the tropics as we head towards the middle of June, kind of updating you on the tropics type of stuff here as well. So welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday morning. This is the Storm Prediction Center's our storm reports going towards the yesterday here. We got wind reports, 55 of those across portions here of the Arklatex getting down into Mississippi, portions there here of Alabama, Florida, even into Louisiana. We got one lone hail report up into southeast Wisconsin, reporting some quarter to even $half size hail, I think, up into those areas, and some hail reports here, 8 of them in total. No tornado reports here as of yesterday. Remember, this is preliminary, but total reports here of 63 across the board here from yesterday. So that is pretty noteworthy. A lot of wind-producing storms across the deep south from yesterday. The jet stream here as we head into our Saturday is going to start to retreat farther to the north, and that will allow some warmer air to start being pushed northward here as well, and that will lead to the next severe weather chance here farther to the north as well. As the jet stream pushes farther to the north, so will the severe weather threat here as well, and that's why the Storm Prediction Center has put out a level 1 and 2 marginal to slight risk of severe weather on their day one outlook here. This does include portions here of the Intermountain West, getting up into the northern plains here, into South Dakota, portions here of southeastern Montana, northeastern Wyoming, and then getting down here into portions of Nebraska, southern portions there of Minnesota, through much of Iowa, and then that slight risk zone across southern and southwestern Iowa, northwestern Missouri. This does include the Kansas City metro area and also portions of the Omaha area here as well, and then getting down into northeast portions of Kansas and southeastern Nebraska as we head into later today. Another 5% tornado risk area here across the Kansas City metro area, getting down into northeast Kansas, far southeastern Nebraska here into northwestern Missouri as we head into the late afternoon, evening hours today. Also a 2% here risk of tornadoes getting up into southern, southwestern Iowa, into north central Missouri as well. Significant 15% wind risk across those areas here around the Kansas City metro, just south of Omaha, and then getting into northeastern portions there of Kansas, where we could have 75 plus mile per hour wind gusts as we head into late this afternoon and this evening. Also in those same kind of areas, especially into portions of northeast Kansas and far southeastern portions there of Nebraska, there also is a 15% significant hail risk, where hails could be 2 inches or larger in diameter, kind of the ping pong ball, the golf ball size hail, or larger in some of these areas. With all this here, kind of talking about the setups here, we'll kind of go over the daily setups here, kind of leading up to how these severe weather events are kind of occurring and unfolding here as we head through time. We got a lot of warm and a lot of moist air, but a lot of warm air in general, a lot of heat building across here, Kansas, Oklahoma, and down into Texas. With Texas, we could have temperatures well into the lower hundreds across these areas, even some hundreds around here, the Oklahoma City area, and that will fuel a lot of severe weather to the north here on the northern edge of that. We have a lot of instability growing with all this dew point temperatures rising well into the 60s and even some low to mid 70s, and that will create some strong instability here where you see the yellows, instability around 3,000. You got here the reds in that slight risk area here getting up to around 4,000 joules per kilogram. So some very strong instability here is likely as we head into late this afternoon. And that is why this supercell composite values are showing up pretty high end or kind of medium range, but kind of getting up higher end on the scale, especially in that slight risk zone. And we'll kind of time that out for you right here. It's kind of the simulation here of what the radar could look like as we head into late this afternoon, and especially as we head into this evening. We got some storms starting to fire up here across portions of the Great Lakes, getting over toward portions here of the Illinois and Indiana type valley areas. But then as we head into the evening hours, around the dinner time frame, very late afternoon, 4, 5, 6 o'clock today, we got some thunderstorms starting to develop across portions of central and southern Minnesota, getting all the way down here into western Iowa, portions here of southeastern Nebraska. And these will really start to grow and explode across portions here of northwestern Missouri, northeastern Kansas, and much of Iowa and Minnesota here as we head into the evening hours. And these will continue to kind of move off to the south and east along that instability gradient here across the Kansas City metro area, getting down into southwestern Missouri, maybe near the Joplin area, Springfield, Missouri, those type of areas here as we head into the overnight hours here tonight, with maybe some elevated type of thunderstorms, some gustier winds, some small hail up across portions of South Dakota, northeastern Nebraska, and maybe getting over into eastern Iowa and portions of central Illinois into the overnight hours here as well. But just in general, you can see here where you get under those heavier thunderstorms, you can see some pretty decent rainfall, up to around 3 inches or so of rainfall accumulation under those heavier storms, where other areas that don't get storm activity here, we'll see, like here, for example, in northern portions of Missouri, might not get anything. So kind of some scattered storms here. Not everybody will see them, but if you do, they could be very strong, very severe, and drop some very heavy rainfall and torrential rain here at that. So something to definitely look out for. Then as we head into Sunday here, kind of the latter half of the weekend here, moving in towards that week of Father's Day, and we are really starting to see that jet stream push farther to the north into portions of the northern plains, and then diving down through the Great Lakes, even into portions of southern Canadian prairies as we head into Sunday. And that will allow all that warmth to continue to expand to the north and east, and that is why the Storm Prediction Center has gone ahead and put out a very expansive risk here across portions of the Pacific Northwest, on up into the northern plains and the portions of the Midwest here, and then all the way over through portions of the Mid-Atlantic and Ohio Valley with that marginal risk zone, but then a slight risk zone, a 2 out of 5 here across portions of southeastern Montana, northeastern Wyoming, into the South Dakota region here, into west central Nebraska, and getting into northwest Kansas, kind of along a dry line, and that's where those storms are going to spark up as we head into Sunday afternoon and evening. Three different areas of some lower end tornado probabilities here. One up toward portions here of northwestern Minnesota, eastern North Dakota here, kind of up toward the upper level dynamics with this here. A lot more spin up in these areas. Also back toward that dry line into portions of west central South Dakota, far southeast Montana, and northeastern portions there of Wyoming with that 2% tornado risk there as well. And then another larger 2% tornado risk here across the Illinois Valley, getting over to the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic as we head into Sunday as well. Like I said, we got all that warmth and a lot of that heat starting to continue to build and amplify farther to the north and east as we head into the day on Sunday, and that will fuel that severe weather here to the north as well. We got all that instability growing with all those dew point temperatures rising well into the 60s, some mid 70s into the central and southern plains, into the mid-Missouri Valley, and that will fuel a lot of instability down there as well. Along a dry line, that's where you could expect that instability to be growing in intensity as we head into the afternoon and evening on Sunday, with some 3,000 plus joule per kilogram instability. You got all that wind shear here in the atmosphere, and that will fuel potentially some supercell thunderstorms across especially that slight risk zone along that dry line here across South Dakota, west central portions there of Nebraska, getting down to northwest Kansas as we head into later on Sunday. So we'll time that out here on what the radar could look like. You have quiet weather here for the most part here on Sunday. Got some rainfall, some thunderstorm activity across the Mid-Atlantic into the Northeast. You still got an active pattern across portions of the Pacific Northwest with some showers, maybe some embedded storms. But as we head into late Sunday afternoon, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, and toward the dinner time frame, along that dry line, that's where you can expect the supercell storms to develop, with that large hail, maybe some tornado threats here, as well as the damaging wind threat. And you also got to watch over here toward portions of the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic, some storms starting to pop up here toward the peak heating time frame as well. And these will continue here, maybe some stronger storms down toward the Louisville area, maybe getting over into portions of southern Ohio. Also those supercell storms extending all the way up and down here portions of the northern, central, and southern plains, maybe getting as far south as the Texas Panhandle, although those storms are not looking severe, maybe just some showery activity down that way, and that will just continue here. A lot of heavy rainfall across portions of the northern plains from the Dakotas eastward into portions of northwest Wisconsin, north central Minnesota as we head into the overnight hours, as these storms kind of congeal into maybe an MCS type of cluster as we head into the overnight and into Monday morning. But in general, where you have that heavier rain, especially across the South Dakota, North Dakota, and into portions there of Minnesota, you can expect probably upwards of 1 inch to 2 inches worth of rainfall across those areas as we head towards the end of Monday here, that Monday time frame. And also here, some heavier rainfall kind of extending into portions here of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Also here across the Pacific Northwest and the southwestern Canada there, where they could have some more significant rainfall as well. Then as we head into Monday, we got that strong jet continuing to retreat to the north. We got a little bit of a ripple of energy here pushing in with the trough here kind of digging down into the Pacific Northwest, and that will be the main player as we head into early and middle of the week across portions of the northern plains, the Midwest, and over toward the Great Lakes region for more severe weather as we head toward Monday. The Storm Prediction Center on their Day 4 outlook has already gone ahead and put out a 15% or slight risk for severe weather on Monday from portions of southeastern North Dakota getting through central and western portions there of South Dakota. And this may be expanding a little bit in coverage and maybe even some higher probabilities, maybe even an enhanced risk as we do get closer as the Storm Prediction Center kind of reassesses this. So that will be something to watch. But as I said, the heat wave will continue across portions of the central and southern plains into the portions of the Missouri Valley, across the desert Southwest, and that will fuel that severe weather to the north. We got all that instability growing with dew points well up into the 70s, all the way up into portions of the Dakotas and into Minnesota, and that will fuel the instability here in the reds. You can see instability around 4,000 joules per kilogram, and even into the grays and whites, you can see instability growing to over 5,000 joules per kilogram here into portions of South Dakota and into Nebraska. So that a lot of instability to grow some very tall thunderstorms across these areas, and you also have a kind of a signal for some supercells across those areas into the Dakotas region, as well as we head into late Monday afternoon and into Monday evening. So kind of showing you that here late on the day here on Sunday, this will continue. And then as we head into Monday evening, we got that kind of clustering of storms pushing through, and then that MCS cluster. But generally, as we head through the rest of the day, we could expect some heavy rainfall here up there, and that will just continue as we head into Tuesday. That trough will continue to amplify, push to the east here, and just to the east of where that here kind of starts to turn negative tilt is where we could have some severe weather as we head into Tuesday. The Storm Prediction Center doesn't have an outlook out for Tuesday quite yet, but I do expect that to be occurring as we head into the later days, kind of getting closer to the Tuesday time frame. A lot of heat and humidity kind of growing, a cold front here extending from Minnesota down through the central plains, and along ahead of that is where we could have some severe weather. With all that instability growing, we got dew points in the 60s all the way up into southern Canada as we head into Tuesday afternoon, and that will just continue on Wednesday. We got a kind of almost a negatively tilted trough continuing across portions here of the Dakotas, and just along into the east of that is where that severe weather can extend, and portions of Wisconsin through Iowa and maybe Missouri as we head into that Wednesday time frame. With that cold front continuing to push off to the east, we got a lot of heat and humidity. We could be up near 100 degrees into lower Michigan and Chicago on Wednesday. So some very, very warm weather and hot weather at that as we head toward the middle of this upcoming week. And you got all that instability growing. Once again, we got dew points all the way up in Ontario, Canada, up into the 70s here. So a very, very strong ridge is going to continue as we head toward that time frame. But behind that cold front, dew points will be dropping into the 40s and 50s, so some much more refreshing air across the Dakotas on Wednesday rather than on Tuesday. But generally looking here ahead, the next 5 days, you can tell where that active pattern will be across southern Canada, portions of the Pacific Northwest, getting into the north central plains, and then into the Midwest and the Great Lakes region. Also down here into Florida, maybe some active tropical rainfall here across these areas, and then some more here healthy rains across portions of the Mid-Atlantic and getting up into the Northeast here the next 5 days, going all the way through the Thursday time frame on June 16th. And then looking down here to the Four Corners region, the desert Southwest, you can definitely see some rainfall here, well-needed rainfall at that, across portions here of New Mexico, getting up into Colorado, maybe portions of southeastern Utah, and getting into eastern portions there of Arizona. And that will continue as we head into Sunday. You can see Sunday evening, you can see a lot of rainfall starting to kind of feed in some of these areas. Not everybody will see rainfall, but where you do see it, it will be very welcomed and very beneficial here, as some heavier downpours are possible, maybe some occasional cloud to ground lightning here with some thunderstorms across these areas as you head into Sunday evening. Like I said, that is some good news, especially across New Mexico into portions of Utah there, but just in general across the desert Southwest, very dry conditions. You got that moderate, severe, extreme, and even that exceptional drought across most of New Mexico and most of the desert Southwest. So that will be some welcome news here for any rainfall that can get it. They will welcome that rainfall with open arms across those regions as we head through this weekend and into early next week. And then as we head toward Father's Day weekend, all indications are for another heat wave to continuing to kind of reestablish itself here across the center of the country as we head toward that Father's Day weekend, that June 16th through the 20th time frame. You got the cooler weather across the Pacific Northwest and into the West Coast, where you have a lot of rainier weather across those areas. And then you have that kind of ridge breaking down the first one, but then another reestablishment of some hot air, and that will really continue. It will have some staying power across the central plains and much of the eastern half of the country, all the way through at least June 24th, toward the third week in June, when with that cooler weather across the west coast and the Pacific Northwest. Continued rainfall is expected there as we head toward the third week in June as well, and that is expected here as the Climate Prediction Center's 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook from June 16th through Father's Day itself and into the 20th. You can expect above average precipitation across the Pacific Northwest. Also expected to be above average precipitation across portions there of Arizona, getting into southeastern Utah, into western portions there of New Mexico, with that monsoon season kind of opening up a little bit as well. And then underneath that ridge, not going to see much here lift, not going to see a lot of rainfall here, maybe some northern kind of complexes of storms across portions of the northern plains and the upper Great Lakes during this period, but underneath that ridge, not seeing a lot of rainfall, and that will really continue all the way through the third week in June across these areas. Not a lot of rainfall, but that monsoon season here is going to really be heating up across the Four Corners region. You got a lot of above average precipitation across the Pacific Northwest as well, heading into that third week in June. And then as we head towards the late next week time frame, towards the Father's Day weekend itself, we'll have that jet stream continuing to kind of push back to the north once again, and this will really start to push north as we head towards the Friday into Saturday time frame, June 17th into 18th time frame, and then really all the way up into central Canada here, some very strong winds in the jet stream, and that will be around the edge of this very strong high pressure system here that is just sitting over the central plains as we head into Father's Day itself. So much of the center of the country, from the northern plains, the Midwest, down through the lower Mississippi Delta into the southern plains, down towards Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. A lot of these areas will be in the hundreds here as we head in towards the Father's Day itself. Another strong and potent trough will continue here, kind of meandering across the Pacific Northwest on Father's Day. Maybe some rainier weather expected there during that time frame here as well. And I'll show you this with the temperature kind of maps here. This is kind of where you see the pinks and purples. That's where you can indicate temperatures well into the 90s and even some lower 100s, all the way up here into portions here of southern Minnesota into the Dakotas here as we head into our Friday here, Friday, June 17th, and this will continue into Saturday as well. We got some lower 100s expected across northern Illinois, much of Iowa. We even got some lower 100s potentially all the way up here into southern Minnesota as we head towards that Saturday, June 18th time frame. And then Father's Day itself, we could have 100-degree temperatures as far north as the international border here between the United States and Canada, up into portions of southern Saskatchewan, southern portions of Manitoba, and then some heat here kind of moving into portions of southwestern Ontario during that time frame as well, with widespread 90s and 100s across most of the country here, across the central plains, the northern plains, and getting over toward the Midwest on Father's Day itself. You got the cooler temperatures across the Pacific Northwest. You got some cooler temperatures across portions there of the Northeast, but right in between there is where that heat is really going to lie, with that major heat wave across those areas. Then kind of turning our attention to the tropics, we got here the National Hurricane Center has put out at least a 40% chance here of a tropical storm developing here within the next 5 days across portions just off of the southern coast here of Mexico. And this is going to kind of meander its way off to the north and west very slowly with time, but giving it under a 40% chance here of development. So nothing too significant here at this time, but I did want to make you aware of that here if you have any vacation plans down into portions here of southern Mexico during this time frame. And then kind of looking closer to home, we got that ridge continuing as we head toward that third week in June. We got that, drier than normal conditions continuing across the the central plains into the Midwest. You've got that northern stream, jet stream, very active across southwestern and southern Canada, maybe inching its way into the northern plains along the northern edge of that ridge. But just in general, across portions of the Gulf, still getting indications here of above normal precipitation along the Texas coast into the Louisiana coast during this time frame, and that is something to note here as the tropics will continue to heat up as we head toward that time frame as well. We got a lot of warm waters across portions here of the Gulf Coast here, especially off the coast here of the Atlantic as well, and to much of the Atlantic basin, a lot of warmer than normal here sea temperatures across these areas. So any storm and any system that can start to get going across the southern Gulf or off the coast could really form very quickly here toward the end of June. So that will be something to watch with those warmer waters across those areas. So I know there's a lot to get to. I do appreciate everybody watching. Be sure to like my video, give me a nice thumbs up, leave any comments, questions below. I do appreciate your answering any questions that you do have, and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am trying to hit a goal of 200, so please help me out in doing so. Spread this along to family, friends, anybody you know here to try and help me grow my YouTube channel. I do appreciate that very much, and I'll have a new update as we head into tomorrow. So thank you very much for watching, and everybody have a great weekend and a great Saturday out there.